So.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So moving on to who are we going to talk about now? Let's see. I don't know the order here, so bear with me. Oh, it's your game, man. Your game. The Bulldogs and the Service.
That's right, Bulldogs, baby.
Bulldogs. I mean, your MVP so far this year is not just one player. It's the whole Chicago Bears fucking defense. These guys,
That's right.
I think, lead the entire fantasy league, any league in scoring. I mean, it seems like every single game they have at least one defensive touchdown. The last couple of games they've had two. I mean, I think 50 points last week, 39 this week. Obviously, that is a difference. Your team, did not have a great week, but just you find a way, man, every single week to thanks to your defense, to pull out the win, and you're 5-0 for the first time ever. So let's spend a few minutes, man. You're my guest on the show, so it's all you, buddy.
I agree. You couldn't have said it any better, really, and I agree with you. It's I've got some solid work from my other players, but the D has just been killing it. I mean, again this week, it saved me. I was a little worried, I'm kind of waiting for me to fall down the charts, kind of like I normally do, but that D just they kick it in gear for me. I do have some solid points really from Charles and Thomas and Bo. They've contributed to some of my wins as well. So, sure would like my Jimmy Graham to pick it up. He's kind of been a dud so far, but
yeah,
I just need a little more help, a little more comfort. But it sure doesn't hurt. The Bears are crushing it for me.
And didn't you take Graham in the second round? I think.
Yes, I did.
He was the first tight end to go, and he was like the 15th pick, 16th pick of the draft. And he's definitely not having a good year. There's something wrong there.
Yeah, there is. I mean, he gets one catch for 4 yards. I mean, he's arguably one of the best tight ends. He was crushing it last year. That's the way it goes, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got tough break there, Cedric Benson. He wasn't having a great year so far, Mark, but he's on the IR. So you're gonna have to make a move there and replace him in the lineup. The good news for me, since I'm playing you this week, and we'll get to the Week 6 games, is that the Bears are on a bye week. So if there's any break for the fucking playmakers, is at least I don't have to sweat. I could see myself being up by 70 and losing by a fucking 2-3 points because the Bears D goes off. It scores like 75 points. But thank God they're on a bye week. I don't have to worry about that this week against you. But again, I'm jumping the gun. We'll get to that in a second. Now, as far as the Serve Destroyers, they were talking some shit and they couldn't back up the talk. That's the problem with a mediocre team, Jake the Snake. You can't be 2-2 or whatever it was, 3-1, I think, and talking shit to a 4-0 team. Way too cocky. And you look at the box score here, man. Manning and Cruz, I mean, it's like a dream. When you have a quarterback-receiver combo on your team and all 3 touchdown passes go to your receiver, right? So 6 touchdowns, I mean, a double points every single time. Besides that, besides the 53 points, you look at the rest of these guys, not much. Not much from his starting running backs, not much from anyone else, really. So, again, there's a reason why I keep saying the Serve Destroyers at 3-1 are overrated. I'm not buying the hype. And again, Jake, you talk the shit, you got to back it up, and you couldn't back it up. And he posted this stupid little message board thing, and he was way off, Mark. He was way off with the whole, Denny Green outburst. So I asked Denny Green to kind of do me a favor and explain to Jake or show Jake the way it should be. So let's listen in to Dennis Green's rant about the Bears.
Yeah, I actually was scared of him pretty good this week. And, Rice hurt him this week, and Torrey Smith hurt him this week. I'll tell you, who's the better hookup with Manning and Cruz? Who's the better hookup this year?
No one.
He's nailing it. But I'm not a believer in them, but they could keep it going. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. So let's listen into Dennis Green real quick, and he wants to show Jake the way it should be said.
What's Green on?
why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to growl them, then growl their ass. And they are what we thought they were. So we let them go.
That was Dennis Green. Thank you, Dennis, for once again reminding us of the way that went down about 7-8 years ago. So let's talk about my game, Mark, between the prime timers and playmakers. You know, I must have been fucking high the last couple of weeks. I got to be honest with you, because I kept dogging the prime timers, saying they're one of the worst teams in the league. So I looked at the box score here and I started analyzing his lineup. And this guy has a pretty damn good fucking team. So, I don't know. My bad, Ryan. You know, I'm looking at his running backs. Richardson, McCoy, and Matthews. Now that Matthews is healthy. Tell me there's not a better 3 starting running backs in the league right now, with LaShawn McCoy, Richardson, and Ryan Matthews. I mean, that's a pretty dangerous lineup right there. So the fact that he scored 164 doesn't surprise me, Mark, because he's got a lot of talent on this. And he actually, now that I look at his roster a little bit better, if they stay healthy, this guy probably has a chance, the best chance to win that weak division. Because like I said, I think 6-8, 7-7 wins this division. I think prime timers are. I'm giving them some credit this week because they did put an ass whooping on the playmakers, and it just seems like, Mark, that whoever I play has their best game of the fucking year. Like Tony, like the prime timers, Zach, everybody has the best game of the. And you look at my points against after 5 games. Opponents are averaging 145 points a game against me, compared to someone like Jake, where they're averaging like 86 points a game. That's like 60 points almost difference, a game scoring difference between someone like Jake at 3-2 and myself at 0-5. So I'm not making excuses, but it's hard to win when you got these guys going off every week. So any color you wanted to add to this game, and I mean, don't feel like you can't speak up and say what you want to say just because you're the you're the guest on the show.
Well, you know, everybody likes to take it to the commish. You know, that's like, you know, one of the perks of the year, just playing you, and just because you're the commish, you know, and everybody brings their A game against you, man.
I guess.
You know, you beat everybody up a little bit, and you know, you know, we think it's awesome. It's one of the good wins of the year. Hopefully, I can keep that streak going. You know.
Well, we'll get to the predictions in a minute here, but yeah, again, just congrats to Ryan. Nice week. Most points scored this week. He definitely shuts up the commission a big way, and my miserable season continues. So let's look at the standings here. We got Archon Tigers at 5-0 in the East. Farmers Tan, after losing 3 straight, are at 1-4. The Playmakers, again, 0-5 there. Moving on to the weak Central. Actually, the Central is not as weak as the East. TCB and Surf Destroyers both lose, so they're 3-2. Frosty Paws at 2-3, and Prime Timers 2-3. And again, he's only 1 game out. This is why I think that he has a good chance of winning this division. And moving on to your division, of course, you're 5-0. For the first time ever, Mark, we got 2 teams that are 5-0 between you and Archon Tigers. So, you know, it's definitely a great way to start the season, but there's still 9 weeks to go, man. A lot of fantasy football left. Cleveland Crushers are 3-2, Eliminators 3-2, and of course the High Flyers, who won an ugly game, they're 1-4. So let's look at the power ranking, because I'm always intrigued by this, because you know, it takes into consideration points scored, your record, your breakdown against each team every single week. So the top 2 spots have not moved. You're still number 1, Archon Tigers number 2. Both of you guys deservingly so. Eliminators move up a spot, so they're ranked number 3. TCB, with that loss, drops a spot. Cleveland Crushers stay at number 5, and Surf Destroyers are technically tied with the Cleveland Crushers. So Jake, I'll give you some credit. You actually moved up a spot from 6th to being tied for 5th, I guess. And the bottom of the pack, the biggest jump of the week, you got the Prime Timers moving from 10 to 7. Frosty Paws, High Flyers, and Farmers Tan all moved down a spot. And of course, TNT Playmakers stayed at 11 and 12. So you look at the the East, which used to be the beast, now it's like the weakest division. You know, I mean, we kept saying how it's so hard to win the East because there's, you know, always the champ always comes out of the East. It's so hard to do it. And this year, Mark, 3 of the worst teams as of, you know, week 5, week 6 are from the East Division. So numbers don't lie. Farmers Tan's having a bad year, TNT's having a horrible year, and I'm having an awful year. So what do you think about the power rankings? I mean, you think it's an objective way of determining who is the best teams? Because I think it's much better than the records.
Yeah, you know, it's gonna obviously change around a lot just because it kind of just goes off numbers, and you know, it actually could be pretty accurate at this point in time. But I don't know. I don't really. It's one of those things. I know I won't be the top team. It's good to be on there. It's good to see where you're at. It's good to hear, but don't really take too much heart into it. You know.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Well, let's look at the Week 6 games here, and you can't see this, but I will tell you that my upset special this week, to no surprise, is the Playmakers beating the Bulldogs. Here's the way I look at it, Mark. You're not going to win every game. I'm not going to lose every game, right? So I think if there's a week that I can beat you, it's the week without your Bears defense that's been your MVP. So I think it's going to be a close game, and I think, you know, this may be that stepping stone towards a nice little run for the Playmakers, because I can still do this, man. The Farmers Tan were 5-5 after 10 games last year, and they went on a run and they won the championship. So if I can get to 5-5, 4-6, make a little run, I have a chance. Especially since my division sucks, with the exception of the Archon Tigers. But looking at the matchups, we got TCB and TNT. You're welcome to make a pick. I like TNT in this game. I think the matchups favor TNT. But what do you think? I mean, do you have this in front of you? Can you see the schedule?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So.
Yeah, I give the edge to TCB.
Okay, because you don't like TNT. I get it.
That's right.
All right. You're like me and the Serb Destroyers. I always pick against my brother. It's that big brother thing. Frosty Paws matchups favor him over the High Flyers. I think with RG3 possibly being out, Frosty Paws wins and goes to 3-3. The Cleveland Crushers and the Archon Tigers. Of course, you know, this is the guy that you're always paying attention to, being at 5-0. I think Cleveland Crushers wins this game because, again, it goes back to the same thing I said about between you and me. I can't see him winning every game, so if he's going to lose a game, this is a game I can see him losing because Cleveland Crushers have talent and they can score some points. You know, they're just inconsistent, but they have this streak where every other week they have a big game. So this is the week for them to have a big week, in my opinion. So I take the Cleveland Crushers over the Archon Tigers. What about you?
I agree. I couldn't agree anymore. Unless, you know, Zach picks somebody late on Sunday morning and they go off like normal. You know, I could, you know, the Cleveland Crushers, they've been solid enough. So and just get rid of some of Zach's luck, and that's a loss.
Farmers Tan Prime Timers. I think Prime Timers blow out Farmers Tan. I think Farmers Tan is going to drop even more in the power rankings. Prime Timers is going to move up, and again, I can see him being tied for first after this week. I think Prime Timers showed me something last week that these guys, you know, they got some talent on that team. They can play.
Yeah, they sure can. Yeah, he does have a good running back setup. Although I don't think those guys can do it every week consistently.
No.
But then when they all show up, they can tear it up.
Yeah, but I just look at his matchups. He's got LaShawn McCoy going against the Lions, who are giving up a lot of points. There's something wrong with their defense. You got Richardson playing against the Bengals. He had a huge game, his best game so far as a pro against the Bengals. I think at home he has a big game. So, I mean, Ryan Matthews. I mean, again, these guys can put some points on the board. Moving on to your neighbor, the Eliminators and the Serb Destroyers. Of course, no surprise, I take the Eliminators. I think they're just the better team. Sorry, Jake, but they're the better team. They're going to win this week, and they're going to go 4-2. which will move them up to just one game behind you, because I'm gonna help Randy out this week and take care of business. But the last but not least, let's just look at the game. You're only a 3-point favorite because your Bears defense is in the bye week. But you already said in the message board you're not worried about me. You were worried more about Jake than you are about me in my lineup. So, I mean, for the record, are you worried about playing the playmakers this week without the Bears defense?
Not really. You got, what, 5 players, Green Bay players? You got the thing for Green Bay this year? Or,
yeah, I should check.
They're all going against Houston, which, man, Houston's tough. They're tough on both sides of the ball. So, yeah, you better hope that one game pans out for you, because you got a lot riding on it.
Well, I'm going to make some tweaks to my lineup. I'm not quite done with my lineup, So
okay.
But yeah, as of right now, I do have 5 of my 9 players of the Green, which I know that's a bad strategy to put all your eggs in one basket. I actually think Green Bay is going to go on the road and win this game. It's a must-win for Green Bay. I think they have a big game. But that's all the time we have. Mark, thanks for joining me tonight. Good luck the rest of the season after Week 6. Good luck the rest of the season, man. And thanks for being on the show. And we'll talk soon.
Great. I appreciate it. Love to be on your show again maybe some other time.
All right. Peace out, brothers.